Okay?
Yeah.
Terrific. Okay. Hopefully by the end of this video you'll be able to convert your bike to lithium. I'll start off by dismantling the bike. Getting to the battery is quite straightforward. You basically get this panel, which is underneath the seat. I tend to like a torque limited drill like this with a hex attachment. Makes life much easier when you're undoing lots and lots of bolts. Basically just... Whoa! Didn't like that.
That's just the torque setting.
Yeah. Oh. That's better. I might have to loosen these off with a torque with a wrench. You might have to loosen a lot of these off with a wrench first, depending on how hard they've been done originally. Good thing with the video is I can edit out lots of these bits. Yep. You'll need to undo all 8 screws, 8 bolts. Alright, now we do the fast way. Alright, place for your bolts is a good idea. The good thing about this being a video is you get to see where each bolt went originally, so you don't have to keep them separate so much. But it's a good idea anyway. I'm chucking this to a side. Alright, now that you've undone these bolts, it means the seat can go. Revealing the next part. First thing you do is unhook this. This powers your fans, but being a lithium conversion, your fans aren't going to have much life for this world, so you won't ever have to plug this in again. Okie dokie, next bit is to take off all these rubber footrests to reveal the extra bolts and screws that you're next going to undo. Okie dokie. First things first, you slide this up and out of the way. And ideally, before you forget, you undo the button that controls the light in here. If you don't undo it now, you'll forget about it, and when you're trying to pry this off, you'll break it, and then you'll never have a light ever again. I know this from personal experience. My own bike doesn't have a light. Alright, again, put them somewhere safe. That's been apart before. Ideally keep it all connected. Put that in there. And have that out and out of the way. Alright, the next fun part is taking off all these screws. Again, you can use your fancy drill, this time using a screw attachment.
Recording.
Excellent. Alright, these screws are for the black plastic cover that goes between your fan cover and the rest of the fairings.
Okay.
Don't forget these top ones, and particularly these larger ones. Otherwise, it stays well bolted to it, and then you're pulling hard and figuring out why it doesn't go anywhere. As you can see, most screws are the same. The only two that are different are the 2 bigger ones that went into these 2 holes. I'd recommend keeping them in a slightly separate container, or you'll end up confusing them and then wondering where they are and why the other screws don't fit. So we'll put them to a side.
Lighting department.
And it's the same on the other side.
Alright. Beautiful.
again. With the screws on this side are exactly the same as the other. So we put them in the same spot. Alright, next is the really tricky part, getting this off. As you can see, this comes under here. So what we do is we're going to bend it up and over. Why isn't that coming out? Oh, there we go. It's got little plastic inserts that go from here inside the holes in this particular bit of plastic fairing, and they may be a bit tight, so give them a good pull. Moving over to the other side, same again. You might have to give them a good pull to separate them out, but nothing should break. Alright, once you got that clear, you can see the entire fan cover. Beneath here is your batteries, and everything beyond there is live. Alrighty.
And those washers that sit there that can fall off when they take the cover off.
Oh, quite right. These washers normally sit between this plastic fan cover and the plastic outer cover. Very easy to lose because you don't see them the first time round. I nearly lost them just then. Alrighty, now we're onto the bolts for the main fan cover. Basically it's just the ones down the side. The ones, the 3, or the 6 rather, that are up the top, they're the short ones. Whoops. For clearance reasons you may not actually be able to get to use your fancy torque limited drill. But we'll try. The long ones go in the bottom. Again, we want to put these bolts aside somewhere, preferably safe. Luckily at each stage the bolt types are fairly different, so that even when you just mix them all together, they are not easily confused. Skip one. Again, it's a good idea not to lose these washers, because this plastic is not very strong, so you need a wide surface area for when you're clamping down. You can see that pretty well here where the washer's actually sunk into the plastic. Right. A real socket for these ones. You can certainly see the time difference it takes to undo these bolts manually than with the drill. It's one of the reasons I recommend buying one. Inside Australia, Bunnings is usually a fairly good choice for getting these drills. For our American customers, Home Depot is probably a good bet. Much faster with the drill. Alrighty. Now we chuck all the tools aside. Here comes the really fun part. You'll notice that this is now loose, if a bit glued down. Now, getting it out, this entire section doesn't actually fit between here, the main aluminium, what do you call it, the frame I suppose, and this plastic bit here. Well, you actually have to bend this up manually and bend these 2 tabs down. First we want to hide this, because otherwise it gets pinched in between the this plastic bit and the main fan cover, and then you lose your ability to have your light inside. So we'll tuck that down out under the way, somewhere. Over there. Then you basically just use a really big screwdriver, pull this up here, and that clear, putting it in there and levering it out. Like that. Don't worry if there's a tear between this tab and the plastic panel. It's going to happen regardless.
Matt, as a matter of interest, I have actually pared this back a bit because it serves no purpose anyway.
No.
And that makes it a lot easier to get in and out.
Alrighty, when you hear that click, you're free. Then we'll reveal the battery. Alright, at the moment it's all live, so the first thing you want to do is undo this Anderson connector. Right, now the original metal hydride battery is separated into two distinct modules, as you can see by each box. What next? First thing you want to do is open this top one, the rearmost module. You may have to get a hope or two to hold that back, if you're so willing, Brian. And then you want to be undoing the two main heavy wires that go to the controller here. And I will use a run-of-the-mill wrench wherever I've dropped it, over here, for that purpose. Now make sure, if you're using an uninsulated wrench like this, that you don't drop it at all on the battery, because although your metal hydride battery may not be giving you much range, there's still a good bit of kick in it, and it will bite.
Does it take undoing it or doing it up where you've got to use that dissipator?
Doing it up. Alrighty. And we shove that down out of the way and put the bolt back in. Incidentally, the bolts that are used in the old metal hydride battery and the ones that are used in your new lithium battery are exactly the same size.
Good.
So it's handy to keep your old bolts around in case you lose one of the lithium ones. You usually ship spares, but for those who are clumsier than most, we will drop 20 or 30 in the build. It's usually handy to have extras. These metal hydride batteries are the source of your extras. Alright. Now the negative lead's a little bit trickier because you've got the power for the thermometer, or the thermistor module coming through just there. Alright. We've got that undone. You definitely don't want to be cutting any of these cables because we do need the thermometer to be plugged into the new lithium battery.
It'd be handy to keep that bolt particularly.
Yes.
The screw thing in the top.
You'll notice that at each section in the middle where there's... Oh, there isn't in this battery. Okay, in previous batteries I've pulled apart, there's spare bolts where you've got the hole drilled in the top. In fact, yes, there are. There's two for each one. If you lose some, don't fret, because there are spares. Vectrix did think about this problem at some stage. Just screw that back in there. The one thing you've got to watch out for is those little M3 screws. Because if you're doing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, you lose one of those screws, well, unfortunately you've got to go back the next day to a bolts place and buy M3 screws. And they usually don't sell them singly, they'll usually try and sell you 400 at a time. Even though it might only cost you 15 bucks. Okay, now that we got that off, again, this is one of the ones you don't want to lose. We tuck that negative down under there, and we screw it back in. As long as it's screwed into a big module like this, you're not likely to lose it. The next step is to get this, get the temp sensor board off, because it's still connected to your battery by 6 squillion wires. And removing it completely will require disassembly of the battery, something we'll do a little bit later.